Time I'm listening, I know what you're going to say before you say it. Yeah. Anyway, let's watch this video now.
Right.
I'm glad you trusted me, though.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Visit betterhelp.com/Padilla because sometimes existing is exhausting. And if you want to watch this episode without all the censorship and completely ad-free, that means absolutely no sponsors, click the join button down below to become a member. Members are going to get a lot of really sick stuff very soon. Anyway, can you believe that you're one of the most controversial figures I've ever had on this show?
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, you've had furries.
I've had Mia Khalifa, who was kind of controversial in her own way. Flat earthers. I think you might be more controversial than flat earthers.
That could be.
Why are you so controversial?
Ah, man. I think it's like a lot of unregulated confidence.
You have unregulated confidence?
Yeah, I think I have in the past. I've toned it down a bit.
Is that a good thing?
Oh, yeah, of course. You got to pick and choose what you're confident about, right?
But you go through a filter process of this might be a dumb idea.
You do realize you're spending way more time defending formerly edgy teens against leftists who are still grappling with rehabilitation than you do spend telling reformed edgy teens that they can expect roses for changing, that they can't expect roses for changing? Yeah, because one is supposed to be more agreeable. One is ostensibly on my side. The other is literally not. The other I want to bring to my side. If I'm selling you a fucking car, I'm not going to be like, hey, this piece of shit fucking sucks, dumbass. The fuck do you mean? Like, yeah, my job is to be a gateway to progressive politics. Okay? That's what I do. Do you understand? That's what I've been doing, perhaps very successfully, for the past fucking almost 10 goddamn years, especially so on Twitch for the past 4. Why the fuck would I not try to tell all the other people in my circle to be a little bit more forgiving, especially when it ties into a larger systemic problem? And the cultural implications of said systemic problem in the form of like cancel culture all the way to our carceral state. Why the fuck wouldn't I make a larger issue about that than what? Tell people that, like, no matter what happens, no matter how much you change, no matter how much you strive to be a better person, there are always going to be smarmy, holier-than-thou dickheads that will constantly fucking slap you in the face and constantly fucking shove whatever you said back in the day that you hopefully can one day atone for and use that against you, demonstrating that change is impossible, so you shouldn't even fucking change at all, especially when we all understand that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, okay? That's the one thing that has changed in this goddamn community. There was no ads back in the day 4 years ago, but there's a 3-minute ad break. Other than that, nothing has changed. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky, okay? That's right. Some people will help you along the way. Def Not Sophie, thank you for the 10 gifted subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Okay. Remember this. To be honest, not trying to stir things up again as a black male. It's hard to trust these people who had an edgy pass, aka using the N-word pass. I even have a problem with that, Ethan, even though I watch H3. No, I understand that. That's why I'm saying, although I understand it's a big ask, my only ask is that you maintain charitability towards those who have demonstrated that they've changed, especially because even you as a black male, for example, might have had some edgy opinions because we all are victims of our systems. What I mean by that is you might not have had a racist perspective against other black men, for example, but you might have been ableist in the past. You might have been misogynistic in the past, and that is normal, okay? But once you recognize that, you should strive to change that behavior. You should recognize why you have that. You should recognize why you feel that way and then work against it. Because human beings ultimately are complex. We are complicated. We are not perfect. You get it? If you are eating / leave the chair while watching your own video, would haters say you're still stealing content? Yeah, I don't want to get into that stuff.
Yeah, no?
Yeah, that's how the human brain works, I think.
Not everyone.
One. A healthy brain?
The people commenting right now, some of them, they don't have the filter.
Yeah, but they should refine that filter. They should build upon it.
So when I first asked you to be on this show like a year ago, you said that you were in a transitional point in your YouTube career.
Yeah. Before, when you messaged me, I was simply a keyboard warrior. I would record videos in my room primarily about other people.
Yeah.
I would be critical a lot of the time. That's where I guess, sort of got some of my notoriety from, because it's very easy to do. You just sit on your computer, you watch a ton of, am I allowed to cuss on this?
Yeah, oh, cuss a ton, please.
Okay, cool.
If you
It's not
didn't,
gonna be bleeped though, is it?
It's gonna be bleeped, but then there's gonna be a version for members only that where it's unbleeped.
Sick. Awesome, okay. I made a video about Keemstar, and it was very well-deserved criticism, and it was like no one was doing that. I was like, this guy's a complete asshole.
No one was criticizing Keemstar?
No.
I think everyone in the world has beef with him.
Oh yeah, at this
I
point.
have beef with him.
At this point.
To be fair, at this point, back when he did it though, he was definitely like way more accepted.
Yeah,
sure, but
everyone.
at the time, no one was doing it. I just got like fed up with it, and I was just like, I should make a video about this guy. And a lot of people, I think, for them, it was like relatable and also a little bit cathartic to be like, oh, finally, someone's talking about the shit that I've been seeing him do for the longest time. Like this, feels a little good, and I think it's valid. I think there's totally a place for it. I've sort of just personally, I think, outgrown it. And during that time, I was like, a year ago when you asked me, I was like, well, I'm doing this boxing match, I'm not gonna be chatting shit at anyone really. I'm just gonna have to fight in the ring,
right?
Put it all out there, and we'll see what happens. That was sort of the transitional period. I was probably like more unhappy with my experience at the time, making these types of videos, because I didn't really have much like a community or like a friend group. I did have a friend group in the form of Max Mofo, Filthy Frank, Chad, How To Basic. Those guys were all great to hang out with and make videos with. And that was probably the most like fun part of my experience on YouTube, was hanging out with those guys. And I would probably keep going in that path if not for, us all living in like different continents. I think generally it was just kind of like wanting a little bit more, something was a little bit more rewarding, fulfilling. So that's kind of why I like started to, move away from it.
And you've said that anyone who focuses their entire career on making edgy content, edgy jokes, eventually finds themselves wanting to do something more fulfilling with their lives.
Totally.
What is the fulfilling thing now?
I don't know, making things that are rewarding in more than one aspect. I really like, I've been enjoying making projects, lately, arts and crafts. I made this like fidget toy.
Yeah,
that you pop zits out
Thanos'
of.
colorful zits.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That was so much fun to do. I have a ton of other ideas like that, but it's not the reason people started following my channel. I think when I would make like a content cop video, for example, it would be like, a month of work or something like that. And I would grind on this video. I'd write, interesting points or whatever, write some sketches. It was just like anticipation for the day that I'm gonna upload it. And I upload it, and for those 24 hours, it's like, oh, cool, there's a lot of comments, the video circulate.
Dude, 3 hours in, he still hasn't covered news? Yes, because I think this is profoundly important, okay? This is incredibly important to me. Sometimes it's going to be good to just talk about acceptance, learning, and being understanding. So yeah, I haven't gotten to the fucking meat of it. I haven't gotten to the juice of it. I covered a little bit of like drama that pertained to me as well. And now I'm talking about how people need to be more understanding of those who have demonstrated change.
A
It's
lot.
like a dopamine rush.
Yeah, it's a big rush. It's a big hit.
Yeah.
You'll have other creators messaging you saying like, oh, this is so awesome. I've been wanting to have someone make a video about Keemstar for ages. That guy's such an asshole. And it feels good and rewarding for like 24, 48 hours. And then it's kind of like, all right, like that really didn't do much of anything. It's not like you impacted the world in any sort of way. Keemstar's still doing, what he's doing. It's just like entertainment. It's kind of like a similar impact to like bad reality TV, where it's like, that was entertaining.
But it's disposable.
Yeah.
In your Joke Police video, you said, "Hey, dumbass, you did something stupid in the past. You could be criticized for it." So do you welcome that same kind of criticism back at you?
Totally. Yeah. I think it's valid. Just like, I guess, like Keemstar, Jinx, or whoever I made videos about, you know, they're completely valid in saying, you know, like, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. Not that Keemstar has ever said that.
That would be very
Yeah,
vulnerable.
but yeah, it would be nice if he did, for sure.
Have you felt the need to apologize to anyone that you talk shit to in your videos?
There have been some moments where it was made very real to me that I am making an impact in the world, and it's not always positive. After the Fine Brothers situation with them making
Wild.
React something, I sort of jumped on the bandwagon, and I regret doing it because I didn't really have much to contribute to the conversation. I don't know, it was in pretty bad taste. It was just like, you know, I was saying either the same shit that anyone else was saying or just generally making fun of them. I'm sure it was entertaining for, you know, some people, so mission accomplished on that front. But when I go to VidCon and the Fine Bros are there, it's kind of like, yeah, hey man, no hard feelings, right? It's shitty.
I actually felt the need to apologize to a very popular creator that I talked shit to online publicly in a video recently.
Do you mind sharing?
Yeah, sure. There was, you know, the time period of 2017, 2018 where it was so popular to make videos criticizing people. So I spent a day with Jake Paulers, and I was like, I'm gonna bring in his fans and kind of ask them questions about why they like him. And, you know, I kind of got the point across where it was like they liked him because he was obnoxious, I guess, and they didn't really know why otherwise. And that was kind of the point of it. And I remember, you know, I released it, and I was kind of trying to prod a little bit. So I put this little clip on Twitter and tagged him in it. And my girlfriend at the time was like, yeah, but what was the point of it? And I was like, to show that I couldn't think of anything, because it was like, people already talk shit.
Yeah.
What am I contributing to this? He got super pissed about it, and he DM'd me and called me an imbecile, and he went on his brother's podcast, Logan's podcast, and pulled up the clip, and he talked shit about me back.
I don't want to just like be another like Anthony Padilla that was like on Smosh. It's an angst of someone who once was becoming irrelevant and being angry that the new generation is being received more than themselves.
That was kind of a rush too. It was like, ooh, we're both talking shit about each other. And that kind of just sat with me for a while, where I was like, that actually didn't feel that good. So I reached out to him recently, and I finally responded to him, and it's like 5 years later, and I was like, hey, sorry, you know, I was coming from a point where I was really lost. I had left Smosh. I didn't know what to do with myself and my career, and it was really popular to commentate and talk shit about people. You were just right there front and center of everyone talking shit about you, and I felt like, you know, that was my thing, was to contribute in that way. And he actually—
It's wild to call him irrelevant at that point, because this is like right off Smosh, right? And I don't really know too much about Smosh, as you guys know, because I've had Anthony on. Love Anthony. I would consider him to be a good friend. And I've had him on my podcast. I've been on his Day in the Life episodes. Yes, I do have to pee. Wait, what the fuck? Dude, I swear to God, I hate how fucking parasocial this community is. It's insane. Like, you can tell I need to pee because I'm jumping up and down, but like micro movements. And you're so fucking tuned into every little thing I do that you can tell, stop. Please stop. Yes, I'm gonna go pee right now. Fuck you.
Like,
God damn it,
hey man,
fuck
no
you.
hard
Oh my
feelings,
God.
we can all
Sometimes I hate being a
grow
streamer.
from things that we did and said in our past. It was so amicable in a way. I felt this release of tension that I didn't know I was holding in the back of my head, of this kind of guilt of just randomly punching down.
Yeah.
And overall, would highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. It makes a difference to be very vulnerable with people. And I think that's kind of like what maybe a lot of like commentary channels, that's certainly something that I was like, you know, having a hard time with, like being vulnerable. Even this like interview is like very, it's still difficult for me to do, because I'm like, I don't want to talk about my life, my personal life. That's less to do with I would say it's just more of like a content strategy or like being online strategy.
Do you think that came from talking shit about others? You didn't want to be a target yourself and you didn't give them any ammunition?
Of course. And that made a huge difference. I would say that, you know, a lot of the people who wanted to chat shit back, it's like, yeah, you can't really say too much. You know, this interview is an example of that. It's like plenty of people can reference it and be like, oh, see, you said this here. What about that? And, you know, I'm at the point in my life where I'm fine with it. Plenty of it is like, you know, well-deserved. Like, you know, if I'm going to put some negativity out in the world, like, it's very understandable that I would have it come back. Another thing that ended up kind of guiding the path a little bit.
You fucking immediately start spamming that you're sleeping and honk shoeing and me-meing. The moment that I go pee, okay, stop it. Stop it.
I did not like the interactions that I had with fans. There were quite a few human beings that I interacted with.
In person?
Yeah, in person, that just sucked. They just sucked because I attracted a lot of people who sucked. Some people were, as I described earlier, were very much like antisocial, weird, basement dwellers. And, you know, the one time a month that they come.
It's like watching Oppenheimer regretting making the atom bomb. Yeah, except that's wild to make a comparison of like one of the most destructive fucking pieces of, like, you know, you're talking about the atom bomb and you're comparing it to like a dude saying the N-word. You know what I mean? He reinforced the pre-existing racist systems. He didn't kill people. You know what I mean? That's like wild. He didn't kill millions. Not millions, but like hundreds of thousands. You know what I mean? My man compared the atom bomb to the N-bomb.
Come out of their cave is going to restock on supplies at Walmart, and they run into me, their favorite YouTuber.
Which is kind of the lifestyle you were living at the time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame them.
And what would they say? What would they do?
Things that I am certainly not going to repeat. I'm talking bad words, cringy behavior that, like, maybe I'd do in a video because I got a camera pointed at me. There'd be some of that energy matched in person, and it's like, oh, maybe not.
So when you were on camera doing it, you felt like it was just for comedy, for entertainment?
Yeah, I mean, generally, yeah. And then, you know, it's just antisocial, weird behavior. Surely you've had some fans, like, quoting Smosh shit.
Yeah, when they're like, shut up! And I'm like, bro, that was a lot.
I mean, that's pretty much all I'm talking about, but maybe change the word shut up to something worse. And then.
So words that we only say by describing the first letter?
Yeah, exactly.
But iDubbbz literally said the N-word all the time. Why was he surprised that his fans said it to him? Brother, that's literally what he's saying. Like, he's saying that when he realized the impact that he had on others who were basically doing the exact same things that he had put on camera, when they did it to him, okay, he started realizing how fucking cringe it was. Are you not listening to the conversation? Like, for a lot of people, you know, for a lot of people, it's just like, that's what it took for you to recognize. That's the easiest argument to make here. If you don't have charitability, you're like, why the fuck, like, why would you even openly state this, right? You're like, what? That's what it took? That's what it took? How sheltered were you that you thought that, like, someone doing it to you in public was what it took for you to recognize? But that's what it took for him, right? That is what it took for him. So who cares? He recognized it, though. What matters is he recognized it and he changed.
Man, what a powerful way of putting it.
But they would hear you ironically using language like that, and then they would throw it back at you unironically.
Yeah, after having
his fans were a mirror, and he didn't like his reflection. Exactly.
For those experiences and being like, these are the people that I'm attracting. These are the people that I'm entertaining. Like, I need to reevaluate things. They're relating and enjoying this content for a reason, and that's not maybe the same reason that I'm trying to make. I had a very Wild West mentality when it came to online behavior. Like, people are going to do what they want to do. People are going to say what they want to say. And I can pretty much do the same because it's the internet. But I think you have to be a lot more responsible.
I mean, I feel like sitting here with you now and seeing who you've become, I mean, you feel like a different person. You feel like a different energy, for lack of a better term.
Oh, I'm a totally different person. all of the cells in my body have changed.
Don't they change every like 7 years?
Yeah. We're coming up on it.
Yo,
We're coming up
you're
on
a different person entirely.
Yeah. Yes, and my physique's different.
Oh yeah? You care
Yeah.
to show off those guns?
We're not going to do that.
Oh, they're gonna have to
But,
see the
yeah,
exclusive
they'll see
pay-per-view
them.
content of you boxing to know what the physique actually looks like under this very well-dressed man.
Oh, thank you.
Some people think that you getting married is what actually entirely changed you.
No, I mean, I got married to Anissa, I want to say, 5 years into our relationship. Anissa helped me with like a lot of the videos that I think the fans have appreciated the most.
Content cop?
Yeah, a lot of content cops, a lot of other random videos that I am still very proud of. Because I don't often talk about my personal life, I've sort of like disincluded Anissa in, I guess, a lot of the interviews and content that I've talked about over the years. And to be honest, that's something that I definitely regret, because she's...
Chat, can we have proof of the change? People, Haas, dude, just trust me. He changed. I know him. Rehabilitation. That's so funny. Does your dick get hard or your clit get fucking hard when you come across like the most morally superior person who's like incapable? Do you, or when you misconstrue my perspective? Do you just want his blood? Fucking, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? It's not just trust me, bro. Listen to his fucking words. Like, what do you mean? Isn't that what you're seeing right now? He's quite literally taking on things that he's said and done in the past, and like in person openly saying that I did not like the reflection in the mirror that was staring back at me because I recognized that the fandom that I had cultivated was toxic. What do you want? It's a serious question. I think it's really, really hard to openly admit that from the jump, and not many people do. Not many people do anyway, okay? But ultimately, not many people do that, and it makes it even harder for people to like openly apologize when your immediate reaction to that is just, oh, you're backtracking now, but you're still the same person. Or, oh, there's another cynical reason as to why you're doing this. When in fact, you don't have to. He never had to stop being racist. He could have just kept being racist and like maybe switched over the dog whistles a little bit. It's not like it's fucking not profitable to be racist. There's plenty of fucking racist content creators out there who haven't changed from that time. You know what I mean? So why do you expect him to dig in? You know, dig his heels in and keep fucking making the same exact content? Like, what the fuck? This is the same thing that people say about me. People don't see content creators as people. This is a huge issue and probably a reason for a lot of these takes, as you've said. He'd probably be making way more money if he kept being racist. Yeah, exactly. The incentive for changing your POV, external exile and shame. Yeah, like why the fuck? And here's the other yeah, dude. Like, we got Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Tim Pool, all these other motherfuckers. And there's like plenty of right-wingers in the essay space too. Why isn't he just like doing that? Why isn't he just doing like center-right content? You think he's not capable? You think he doesn't know he could do that? The HasanAbi stream 2 years from now. Oh my God, dude. Why are you gonna hit me like that? That's fucked up. Huh. Anyway, are you trying to say money is racist? What? I don't know what you're saying, dude. That's like a ridiculous way to miss the point. How about he step away from the camera and just live a quiet life, work in sanitation or some shit? Wait, what? How? Why? Why do you get to make that? Do I want the same content? Of course not. I'm happy you changed, but I'm trying to find and understand where the rebrand happened. I've spent all my time online. I haven't spent all my time online. Yeah, some people don't fucking openly rebrand. That's what I mean. Especially because it's like shameful. So it takes a lot for people to like say, oh man, like, you know, I fucked up back then. Do you see what I mean? You get it? Sometimes there is no like, these are the things I said that are wrong. And it's fine that I said those things. I'm not like that at all anymore. That's not how that works sometimes. Sometimes it takes a while. That's why I say he's like slowly becoming more open about his perspective shift. Ethan is a great example of this too. PewDiePie racist? Serious question. My girlfriend doesn't like him. I have no idea. I don't know. But he's not in the eye. He's not under public scrutiny. I suspect that he's no longer as like as red-pilled as he once was. Yes, but I don't know.
To the complete opposite. She's like open book. She'll stream and she'll talk about her entire day. I think a lot of people get angry or frustrated or they doubt her because they haven't heard it from me. But, you know, everything, like she's my partner. You know, everything that she says, like, you know, for the most part, I'm down with. I'm getting to the point where I'm like a lot more comfortable about it. And I think it does more good than harm to just be more of an open book.
You've been very private with the details that you have talked about publicly. Have you ever talked about your childhood? I feel like I haven't really.
One of the first instances of Ian actually opening up about his past and like his perspective shift was literally on this fucking broadcast. And while I was like asking him questions about that, like I could tell that he was just like very uncomfortable talking about it because he's never actually like personally came out and showcased that he was a different person. Like if you remember that video, if you remember that interview that we did, you'll recall like he was just like he's trying to say it's cringy and it's shitty, but like what he's trying to say is that it's fucking gross, toxic, racist, and he doesn't believe in any of those things. You know what I mean? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it is. And he's even matured from then. Like this is one of the first times he talked about it. And as time grows, I am a firm believer that like he will lean into it even further. That's why I'm saying all you can do is sometimes just sit back and wait.
Really seen much about.
iDubbbz wasn't racist. He wasn't right wing. Edgy, sure, but not racist, toxic. Maybe his fan base was, but he wasn't. Brother, it doesn't matter. When you're fucking saying the N-word with a hard R and making it your political perspective, yes, that's racist. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to win. You're not going to be able to win this audience over. Okay. Good luck trying to explain to a black person that like someone who wants to say the N-word with a hard R for whatever kind of like libertarian free speech principle is not racist. It doesn't work that way. Okay. The lack of awareness in this circumstance is what it is. It's like, even if it's negligent, it's still such a glaringly wide, massive blind spot that it like, you know, that negligence is coming from a white supremacist understanding. Okay? But ultimately, I believe that even people who have advocated for that kind of thing could still make up for it. Possibly because I'm white. Definitely. My privilege inherently allows me to make this assertion, this broad assertion.
You know, how you became iDubbbz. Now I think is the perfect time to talk to you about today's sponsor, Honey, which is the easy. Have you ever talked about your childhood? I feel like I haven't really seen.
How funny that a bunch of
about.
leftists are against you being compassionate to an individual trying to grow. Yeah, it's always gonna happen. It's always gonna happen. It's like very aesthetically pleasing to just like come across like you're fucking hunting Nazis or whatever the fuck when you yell at a dude who definitely had some racist takes, who no longer believes them, and you're just maintaining that purity.
You know, how you became.
It's just young people too.
I grew up in Southern California. I have an older sister. I was raised by a single mother till I was 10-ish. I made a lot of friends with like the weird kids. They were actually not weird. They were guys who were also raised by single mothers. They were a little bit more, I would say that they just weren't assholes.
Oh, they had some sense of empathy?
Yeah, exactly. I think we related in a lot of ways, but I don't think we realized that it was most likely because we were raised in a single parent household. My dad was in.
Okay. He literally proliferated bad ideologies in the cringe era of YouTube. I believe in rehabilitation, but a price must be paid. What's this guy going to do? Go contemplate life in his mansion while doing nothing about his gross fandom? Well, first of all, ever since he has very openly came out against like the fandom that he cultivated, people have been shitting on him. So I'm just saying, don't pile on with the fucking gross, cringe, weirdo Nazis that are like, oh, you changed, you fucking suck now. by also saying, oh, you changed, you fucking suck, because you never actually really changed, but on the left. Also saying a price must be paid is so fucking weird. Like, what? Yeah, what are you, Sephiroth? Sephiroth? Like, who the fuck is this? Why are you a villain? Like, why are you on your villain arc? Like, a price must be paid. Blood for blood. You know, it's not a fucking purity thing, bro. I grew up as a black teenager, and this motherfucker particularly made my life more difficult, especially when all my friends watched him and felt super comfy saying the N-word. Dude, I get it. I get it. I get it. I'm not saying he wasn't impactful. I'm not saying that at all. Guys, when you were growing up as a black teenager, I was also, again, a content creator on the internet that was very, very openly fucking defending the same values that I hold today, right, at the Young Turks. And even as a tiny fucking marginal content creator that was like one of the many content creators at TYT, I was still getting death threats. I was still getting fucking doxing threats. I was still getting my ass blasted into fucking oblivion, okay? Or Islamophobia on top of everything else. So my point is that yes, I too, maybe not to the same degree as yourself, but I too have, you know, even as a white guy on the internet, you know, saw some of the impact of that cringe era YouTube, okay? That cringe era YouTube of like white supremacy running rampant. One of the main things that I talked about all the time with YouTube, every single time I had meetings with them, was to rein in the alt-right shit, rein in the fucking alt-right rabbit hole for years and years and years and years. Okay? I'm just saying it's not a purity thing for a lot of us. Ethan did the same shit and it sucks. I understand that. I know. Also, yeah, saying it's a cringe era is like a light way of calling it. Okay? But ultimately, you should still, no matter what happens, you should still be more open-minded towards those who have shown their proclivity to change, those who say, I am no longer the person that I was. That it should be a fundamental principle instilled upon you, because ultimately you would want that for a relative, you would want that for yourself, you would want that for others, okay? Because at the end of the day, we are still absolutely motivated, guided by the socially learned constructs that we make a permanent part of our ideology, that we make a permanent part of our identity. Okay? I want people, especially people with large audiences, to want to change, to do that, to demonstrate that publicly. Why do I always defend XQC when people say, oh, dude, remember when you got banned for homophobia, for telling a gay man to like suck your dick and that he would like it or whatever? Why? Because I know for a fact that because you want his clout. Exactly. That's why I do it. That's why I also simultaneously call him out, because again, I want his clout when he does some wrong things. Also for clout. Everything I do is for clout. No, the reason why I defend that while also rip into him when he's being a fucking asshole, but defending him on that principle, is because all y'all saying is it was hard for you because you were called the N-word and you need to realize you're infinitely more privileged than some other kid who's also experienced racism but wasn't fortunate enough to live in a first world country. What? No, just stop. It is not easy to be fucking dehumanized by your friends or by everyone that you grew up with. That's an insane fucking take, my friend. What the hell are you talking about? Yes, there's always going to be someone that's less privileged than you, but there's always going to be someone that's infinitely more privileged than you. That's a silly take. Richard Spencer has been recently pushing a leftist message and philosophy online. Would you forgive him for being a neo-Nazi? Richard Spencer is still a neo-Nazi. Like, he has not changed. What are you talking about? The fuck? It's like saying Tucker Carlson has been saying pro-labor shit, which means he's no longer a fucking fascist. Should we forgive him? Yeah, dude. No, he's doing the same shit Hitler did, dumbass. What the fuck are you talking about? Which is making it seem like they care about socialism or making it seem like they care about labor only as a successful vehicle to drive home the fucking narrative that they are nationalist, okay? Those are the guys who recognize. Also, comparing Richard Spencer to iDubbbz is wild, but, you know, just understand that the idea that someone says they're a liberal does not make them a liberal, okay? You have to make these assertions on your own. You have to look at the complete picture that they're presenting you with. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and act like Tim Pool is a centrist liberal, okay? He's not. There's a difference between someone like Tim Pool who's still cutting right-wing content while simultaneously calling himself a centrist liberal. There's a difference between that, and there's a difference between Richard Spencer saying that he is no longer, I mean, he has never even said he's no longer a Nazi. He's just still a neo-Nazi. He's just utilizing a different tactic. You have to look at what he has done, what he has said, watch this video, I guess, okay? And simultaneously understand that, like, in this field, he doesn't have to fucking change at all. If anything, he just kept growing and done a more Tim Pool style, I'm actually a centrist shit.
Prison, so he came back when I was around 9 or 10. So, like, he wasn't in my life for a period.
What was it like reconnecting with a parent, you know, bringing them back into your life when they technically were a stranger?
I think the biggest thing is just, like, how different fathers want to raise their sons.
Well, it was like, come on, we're going to go throw the pigskin, son.
That kind of shit.
Was it a lot of, like,
amplify that maybe a little bit?
How amplified did it get?
Gender role type shit and like an idea of how men need to be. And, you know, being raised by a single mother, like, I didn't really fit a lot of those norms or those ideas. Chores is a good example. Like, what does a guy do for chores versus a woman? Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, take out the trash.
Oh, because men are gross.
Because they're gross.
They love rolling around in shit.
They stink.
Facts. What else?
The yard work, because they get in the dirt.
It's also dangerous.
Oh,
in
it's
the
dangerous.
yard.
Yeah.
You know, you can get stolen, kidnapped.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? But if you're a man, you're not going to get kidnapped. Impossible.
No one wants to human traffic you.
Yeah, because you got a dick.
That's right.
And balls. One memory that I had, I liked reptiles. I liked animals growing up.
Yeah, you're into amphibians and shit?
Yeah, amphibians.
Yeah.
My dad and I went to a reptile store, but like I was kind of thinking maybe I wanted a snake. But it had like a little cute nose. It was all, it wasn't one of those like evil fucking diamond-shaped heads that look like they're gonna fucking snap you. And I was like, that one's pretty cool. But my dad was there. There was a little pressure there to get the snake that my dad was a little vibing with a little bit more.
Oh, the scarier one.
The one that was like, maybe a few feet longer.
Yeah.
It was a little bit bigger around. So of course we got that one.
Yeah.
And we had that snake in my room.
You were just like...
So far, iDubbbz neither acknowledged nor apologized for the hurt he's caused. He just didn't like that his fans were cringe. I think in time, he will also openly state that as well. No, I think that's fair. I think I think that he is so fucking disgusted with what he's doing or what he used to do that, like, it takes a while. It takes a while for him to, like, openly fucking state that. Okay? No. I don't think he's gonna, like, I wonder if he'll talk about that later in the show, because, like, he's talking about being vulnerable here and stuff like that. But this is exactly what I was saying. His material conditions led him to being opposed to the current culture and alienated. This is probably what led him to reactionary narratives. That was the easiest way to explain the world. Yes. I feel like a lot of leftists don't actually want change. They just want a high horse that comes with shitting on people. No. There is some of that. I think a lot of people mistake leftism with, like, purity and being the moral good guy in every circumstance. What? Why are you so okay with him not openly rejecting his racist plans by denouncing his old self and letting him slowly slide? Because I myself am a content creator, because I have met this person, because I understand that in some respects he's, like, going through that process, and he's been shit on for the past year or two since he, like, personally made that difference. You know what I mean? He made that internal shift. Change happens not overnight, but instead over a long period of time. Okay? And the point is he already has, like, he's just not openly stating it for you. He's not saying it in the way that you can understand, comprehend, and say yes to. Many of you will not actually fucking expect him, or many of you will not even take that for an answer anyway. Yeah. It is important to note that if, as a content creator, you apologize or admit fault, the internet will not care and treat you with good faith. Yeah, there's that element too. You know, there is that too. Exactly. I mean, how many times have I fucking apologized for a thing like because I've falsely predicted something, right? Because my prediction, even if my analysis was sound, my prediction was wrong. Did that stop motherfuckers from still to this day constantly talking about this shit? No. The people in the back, what did he do? He made a lot of videos. That was a smorgasbord of like different kinds of ideology, but ultimately one of the ones that a lot of people you've called other content creators out for not genuinely apologizing. What are you talking about? Maybe in the moment, like if they're in the process, but that doesn't mean that like I don't acknowledge when people change. What the fuck what are you talking about? Like I have no interest in like defending him. You know what I mean? If I didn't think it was genuine, I would not defend him. You know? How do you feel about creators like Johnson who never really changed or apologized but really brought that stuff in their content? Who's Johnson?
Scared of it in the corner?
I mean, pretty much.
Hasan, you're being way too fucking charitable with this guy, biased even. Yeah, no, I am being way too charitable. I'm not only being charitable, but I also ask you to try to be charitable as well.
The top of the enclosure was just like essentially a screen door.
Yeah.
That just like kind of pressed in, and this snake was big.
Uh-huh.
So that sucker would just push that screen door open and just leave at will. And one time it was out of the cage and it wrapped itself around.
Oh, he made a bunch of videos in which like he would defend saying the N-word with a hard R and saying the F-word and numerous other things like that. He was like very libertarian. As far as his politics goes, I think that was like his most like overtly right-wing position. Some of the other positions he had was not necessarily that all that right-wing, but he definitely was you know, very, very irresponsible. His analysis sometimes was actually sound and dare I say even progressive on certain issues, but that one issue absolutely overrode everything else because he did utilize a lot of like 4chan memetics, I guess, and that like, oh, I should be able to say it. You know, that energy was what made. He was in either everyone can say it or no one can, Andy. Exactly, which was bullshit. And that I do believe is a racist take. But having said that, I don't think that he holds those beliefs anymore. What is this? XQC, incoming XQC. XQC want to talk? What fuck's he want to talk about? What does he want to talk about? What's up, dude? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello? Fuck. Why does this shit happen every fucking time? I can't hear you and you can't hear me. I don't think. Hello?
Well, I can hear him.
Oh, I'm good. I can hear you now. And
Yo.
you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up, man?
What's up, dude? Oh, I have your award, by the way.
Oh, shit. Sick,
Yeah,
man.
I'm holding it fucking hostage, motherfucker.
That's fine.
You have
We
to
can
do
keep it for now.
IRL. You have to do an IRL stream with me. Actually show up one time.
Yeah, no, real shit. Now you can keep it for now. It's okay. Also,
What's up?
I'm trying to put all the awards in one spot, right? So one day I can make the decision permanently if I keep all my trophies and I put them in a casing, right? And I care, or I throw them all out at the same time. And having them all at the same spot, all of them, so they're consolidated. Then I can make the choice.
I'm gonna consolidate all your awards.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Yo.
It's good.
Yo. Okay. Listen. This is not an ambush. I promise. I listen. I thought about it again at the time, and I wouldn't brought it up to you if it was an ambush. And I'm not being a demon. I thought. Okay. I think Train is not at the same level of the one that we shall not name, and I think I like both you and Train. I can see the better in everybody, and I wondered, what if you guys sat down and just talked about the main viewpoints and problems, and you had a better understanding of each other, so that people stop clipping shit back and forth, and it's a weird drama, and that inflames viewers and the commenters to be weird and take something out of context. Because I think even though Train might not even agree with you and might still be mauled at you, right? The fact that he spoke to you directly will actually make him stop feeling certain ways, and make you feel that you might feel the same way.
No, I'm down. Because people were saying that like, oh well, you forgave XC, why not Train? But like, I talked about that before, where like you and I have had a different relationship than myself and Train. I think he's been a little bit more negative towards me. I am down to talk to him. I don't have an issue with talking to him at all. I used to be on his podcast all the fucking time. You know what I mean? But like, even when I was going on his fucking podcast, like he's just always been a bit of a he's always been on a fuck Hasan train. And not only that, but also but also like you, as far as like your involvement in the prior things that like prior schemes that Train was cooking up, you literally apologized for it. You said openly on the podcast when I had you on, when Ludwig was mending the gap, that you said that you knew like that it was false, and you still were like memeing on certain things to make content out of it or whatever. Whereas like I feel like Train has never done that. Like if he were to say like that he was wrong for trying to like maliciously try to add me into the Adriana Lee saga or numerous other instances where he is like personally stated that, I am responsible for like horrible things, or thinks I fucking run Twitch or something alongside Pokemon. Like, of course I would have a conversation with him. Like, look at these motherfuckers spamming Hasan in the chat. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like,
no, bro, this was moderated. Okay, listen, I had the filters on. Okay, and as soon as I pulled up, okay, I released the filters. The filters were clapping. They started to lose it. No. Listen. I mean it. We had the filters on earlier. And then and I think people are mauled. The filters were on earlier, and they're retaliating by doubling down like a bunch of bitches. But it's not like that. Yeah.
I just like, how do they cope with the reality? Like, I know they're trolling, but like, do they not understand that like we are friends? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it.
For sure, yeah.
They just don't. They don't get it. I don't think they just think like, no, fuck that.
Listen, I think at this point, okay, it's a lot of it is. I think there's like a 0.1% that actually feel that way, and I think a big percentage is like the same. It's the same way as in So sometimes I'll prove chat that, guys, I am not silver in League of Legends. Look, my count is platinum. I've been gold as replacements. I've never been silver. And they're like, chat, silver surfer. And every time I boot up the game or talking about the game, they say, you're silver, bro. But they know I'm not silver. They know I'm not silver.
No, they're just trolling. I get it. Anyway, all right. So
I don't want to.
As far as talking to Train, like I'm fine. I'm fine with talking to Train. It's just like, but my expectations from that conversation would definitely have to revolve around like, Train at least like acknowledging that, it was kind of fucked up that he did a bunch of stuff where he tried to like implicate me in some shit that I had no business being implicated in.
You know what?
I'm excited. I've said this before, and I legitimately believe this. I want Kick to survive as a platform. I want Kick to be a successful platform. I don't give a fuck like how it's being funded or whatever, because like ultimately maybe it's perhaps a bit selfish, but I think more competition amongst platforms, like streaming platforms, is overall a good thing, right?
Agreed. Competition is
it's good. It's good for the space. It's good for the content. It's good for the platforms to like treat their content creators a little bit better. No.
True. Yeah. Also, I genuinely like listen. As now I can say that. I think as a friend and also as a person, as a content creator, I meant well when I said that I can connect with Train on a personal level, right? And if I was there doing it, I can definitely make him like reel back some dog shit, and I think he'll listen to me, right? when it's reasonable. Okay, I don't think he would sit there and be unreasonable for fucking 3 hours straight or like an hour and just be I wouldn't let that happen. Okay, but yeah, but when I was not around, I only had one question before I let you go on your thing because I don't want to sidetrack your own stream. Listen, one question. One question. Yesterday you were talking about I saw the Will Neff and then train and you thing. This is on a personal level. This is just so I can hone my skills in politics and understanding it. They were saying it, or Will was saying it, that it's kind of hard to apply some of the like socialism concepts, ideologies in practice because you are inherently in a capitalistic system, right? And I thought to myself, okay, if let's say you don't apply most of your concepts, right, as let's say a millionaire and then a multimillionaire and then 100 billionaire and then a billionaire, when does it start and when can you actually make a change?
That's a really good question. I think a lot of people mistake what socialism is with like just being rich or like an overall hatred for the wealthy. But socialism directly is about, or Marxism is directly about what your relations to the means of production are. So you and I, albeit very, very wealthy people, are still technically waged out employees. We're contracted employees of Twitch because you make money off of, serving ads. You make money off of subscribers. But then Twitch as a platform still has, even though we're in a good negotiation position, still has a lot of control over what we can say, still has a lot of control over how much money we can make off of the platform itself, where they can turn around and say, for example, we're going to take 25% of your subscription revenue, 50% of your subscription revenue. So ultimately, we are still making money off of being live. Now, people will say work Omega Law, which is understandable. It's a much easier field and much more luck dependent to be super successful. But the same principle still exists, that other people are making money without actually doing anything. Other people that have Amazon stock are making money off of what we are, what the value that we are generating. Okay, so we're selling our time and allowing the platform to basically pay us out in return for that, while taking a percentage of it, a tidy percentage of it off the top.
Yeah. So I feel like this chain of command is endless. It's always on the above, and then it would be like Amazon, and then it'd be Jeff Bezos.
Well, that's why it
comes
comes.
The government.
That's why it's about commodity production, right? Like, so a lot of rich people, for example, a lot of like actually rich people, like real rich motherfuckers, will make money off of the pre-existing money that they have. And what I mean by that is they'll put it in the stock market and they'll have their money accumulate more money as a consequence of that. You've probably done this as well. I suspect, and others have done as well. I even advocate for it personally, to do in the form of a 401k, right? That is capital. So capital accumulation is, if that is your primary mode of generating value, then it's a little different than someone who is making money off of their own labor.
Okay, makes sense.
So that's the difference. It's not about how much money you have. And if you ask me if there's like a maximum wealth, that's a little bit more complicated. I don't know exactly what would be the maximum wealth in that situation, right? I'm sure there is like an amount of like abundance of wealth that is like so much that it's like ridiculous that you have it. So I do agree on that. But ultimately, it's about how you make your money, not how much money you have in general.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. Okay. I'm starting to get a grasp of that, right? So do you think in practice you would be able to reroute people's mindset and thinking to a point where they function with these like new motivators? Because people are motivated by the competition, right? The fact that they have upside potential. If they work hard, they'll get rich as fuck and they're gonna ball out, right? Do you think that you can remodel people's brains and thinking patterns toward the like, I'm gonna spend time to learn this trade and do this, right? I'm gonna earn as much as everybody else, right? Like that. Do you think?
Yeah. Especially because I don't think that money is the only motivator for a lot of people. I think you're a great example of this. You fucking sit around and eat your toenails half the fucking time, but you're not motivated because you're not motivated to stream as long as you do because you're going to make more money. You're motivated because you have the feeling of competition within you that you want to dominate the platform. You'll be the number one fucking content creating goblin, right? So like that is an additional incentivizing factor that is probably way more important in for the reasons as to why you like make content than the amount of money that you're making.
Yeah. Okay. So, see, I'm not gonna be okay. I'll do the compliment, but I'm not gonna self-glaze too hard, right? But I would assume that overall, in society, right? I would assume that if not motivated by this, then this would be a case if you were to replicate that in the field in the field outside. That this would be a golden goose scenario, not a golden egg. So not only a select amount of people are going to like go above and beyond, right? To have to just seek that unique fulfillment that isn't based on money or they're going to get out of it. I feel like no.
Yeah, no, the idea is that once your needs are met, once you reach a base level of comfort, there are additional motivators that still keep you going. And I think a lot of people actually operate this way. It's just that most people do not have the capacity to even explore that territory, where they don't even know that they could explore that territory. Now, if you were to talk about menial labor, if you were to talk about like, well, what would motivate someone to clean the toilets? Because in a society, someone is always going to clean the toilets. You are right. I think that there still needs to be a financial motivation for a lot of people to do so. There are different formations for this, different ways, like Japanese people, not to be too much of a fucking weeb, but like Japanese people clean their own space no matter what. If you watch like a Paolo video where he goes to the Panko factory, the factory owner literally cleans the toilet. And that's like, you know, socially learned behavior. So some of this could be distributed amongst people through culture, but ultimately, if you were to have people that are going to do these tasks that are otherwise considered unfulfilling, automation picks up a lot of that slack, and those people should still be rewarded financially for doing things that other people don't want to do, and way more than they normally would.
Okay, yeah. I get it now. I get it. I have an understanding of that perspective. That I generally do. That kind of widens my mindset there. Now, I'm gonna go on my day. I thank you for your time. And if he DMs me, okay, I'm gonna give him a format. And if I'm not comfortable and I don't think he's gonna do what I think, I don't think we do it. But
sure,
I'll keep you updated. I'll keep you updated.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you, brother. Thanks for the explanation. Bye bye.
Right, no problem. Peace. All right. I think that was very productive. Ultimately, I think that was a very, very productive conversation to have. All right, let's get back to our iDubbbz combo. What did he say? Oh, he wants me to have a conversation with Trainwrecks, and I said I would down to do it. It's just that like there are certain things that I would need him to like, acknowledge. You know what I mean? A type. Thank you for the 5. Get the subs. I don't think you should trust them. They're trying to pick up new attack vectors. It looks like what? I don't know why you're so cynical about it. But ultimately, I think that I will take every situation as it's given to me, and I will make the most use out of it. You know what I mean? Just like if it's a place where I can, promote my understanding to not an immediately and inherently contentious format, I'm gonna do it. I don't know how you have the patience for dealing with people that not only indirectly fuck you over, but also directly fuck you over. Well, you got to do what you got to do. I am a profoundly profoundly fortunate individual. Okay. And ultimately I have to think about how lucky and how successful I am and how I've gotten to this place. And it's you just gotta do what you gotta do. You have to literally just take whatever L's that are being served to you and try to turn them into W's if you can. Merble, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Like at the top of the hour, there's an L, right? It's an ad. An ad break comes. It's 3 minutes long. But you can turn that L into a W if you subscribe for $5 or for free. With the Twitch Prime, that is. Or you could potentially get gifted a sub. Turn that L into a W in a larger way. Okay? But when I talk to people, especially if they are being gracious enough to not be immediately contentious, I am going to... last time X and Train got together, they tried implicating you in rape. It's not cynical. It's having a sense of preservation. I know. But if you are not going to be immediately contentious to me, how else am I going to have a conversation that is like otherwise open-minded about learning or educating 46,000 juicers about socialism? You know what I mean? If I behaved in that way, then I wouldn't have that opinion. It wasn't rape. They said I was a part of a cover-up, potentially. You know what I mean? You get it? Smurble, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
The bottom leg of the dresser that was on. So there was like a situation where it was like, okay, I'm lifting up the dresser so my dad can go in there and get the snake. My dad gets bitten while he's under there. I'm shocked. So I fucking dropped the dresser.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a great reaction. But yeah, he exploded on me and didn't really, definitely made me feel bad for reacting the way that I did. Mm-hmm. And that was that was a memory that I had because it was just very, it was a lot. And it was with a thing that I didn't even want to be friends with, this snake. There was a disconnect there.
What about your living situation growing up?
We lived in a trailer park for the first, I don't know, I guess 7 or 8 years. Mm-hmm. When my dad got out of prison, that's when we were able to move into a proper house. My mom had a lot to deal with, but it amazes me that she was able to be a single mom with a husband that she's still in contact with and occasionally visiting in prison and raising 2 kids. It's I get worried about getting a second dog.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
You mentioned to me that some people talk shit about you and they're like, trailer park, this and that. You're literally.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. I don't I guess necessarily identify it with it too much because it's I don't know. I blot a lot of that out in my memory. And I also don't interpret it as bad as it maybe was. That's something that Anise has gone to therapy a number of times, and she says to me it could be a lot worse than you know, because when people have trauma and people have bad experiences, especially in childhood, you just don't remember it. And a lot of times your brain needs to do that to survive. So
yeah, literally, that's all the coping mechanism.
For people to say, iDubbbz still has the video of him saying the N-word on his channel with 34 million views, shouldn't he delete it if he's changed? I mean, I told Ethan not to delete the Jordan Peterson conversation that he had, but he did it anyway. And yet people still fucking use that against him all the time. People literally either will turn around and say, oh, I can't believe you fucking deleted that. You're trying to hide what you actually used to be when you were so proud of it back then. Or they say you're a fucking gigantic pussy. There is no win in that circumstance. And he might not even have personally thought about it. Your tweet draft. Yeah, literally, dude. One of the main reasons why half of Black Twitter keeps saying I'm fucking racist is because the Barb saw a tweet that I drafted that I never even fucking sent. That people literally, which by the way, contextually wasn't even fucking all as racist the way that they try to make it seem while she was defending Tucker Carlson, right? It doesn't fucking matter. People go off of vibes. They go off of vibes. Right now, if your vibes are fucked, they're going to still, no matter what you fucking do, act like you're a piece of shit, you're a bad guy. Yeah. And if you think that those videos are fucking monetized, I don't know. Like, either you're hiding the evidence or you're still profiting off of it. Yeah. How do you not see that? How do you not see that, like, it's a lose-lose situation no matter what? Okay? It's a lose-lose situation no matter what the fuck you do. It's the same as me doing charity. I didn't do it publicly, so I wasn't doing it, and I was lying. Now that I do it publicly, I'm doing it for clout. There is no winning in that circumstance. At a certain point, you guys got to do what you believe is the right thing to do and move on, and not do it for the sake of other people recognizing where you're coming from. Yeah. It's not even, most likely it's not monetized, by the way. You know what I mean? His N-word videos, no way they're fucking monetized.
Mechanisms that we develop as children are to make those experiences not feel traumatic, even though they might sit with us for the rest of our lives.
Totally.
Unless we process it.
Yeah.
But that's hard. I don't want to process. And then you have to cry and shit.
Yeah, no thanks.
No.
Men don't cry.
Men don't cry.
I've hit a point recently where I cry a lot more often. From really weird shit, too. We watched the Puss in Boots movie.
And that hits you?
I cried like probably 3 different times in it.
Why are you more open to crying now?
Gaining empathy?
Yeah? Well, it sounds like you always had it. You just shut it off.
I mean, that might be a good way of putting it. It's hard to tell because I haven't... I haven't self-reflected too much on it. Being that way, being avoidant and not, sharing feelings or thoughts and hoarding them has led to, like, a lot of missed business opportunities, a lot of missed personal connections. I'm trying to get better at it.
Maybe you can relate to this, but my mother being a single mother and seeing her feel so overwhelmed all the time, I didn't want to add.
With agoraphobia.
What does that mean? That means not expressing your emotions and convincing yourself that you don't feel any emotions. But now that I've gotten better, through years of therapy and changing my perspective about where emotions actually go, it's allowed me to see things a lot more clearly. These are emotions that I was hiding away. They're all tucked away neatly behind walls. And once I started dismantling these walls, I'm able to get a much better perception of the things in front of me.
Yeah, I that's a great way of putting it. Like having a much clearer view and, not having those thoughts influence kind of everything that you do and everything you interact with.
And it seems like those are some of the feelings that you were feeling while creating the content that was a little bit more aggressive. It was almost a way for you to express some of those emotions that you had blocked away that you didn't know that you felt about your life at the time.
And I think that's, in a big way, why I wanted to move away from it. It's like, oh, some of these things have been a little bit more addressed, or I can, my view is a little bit wider now, and the world is a little bit more complicated. Maybe going back to that comment I said earlier, just being a little bit more confident, or being less confident in sort of the bad habits or things that I've developed over the years, whether it be through trauma or anything else.
Why did you get into YouTube when you first started getting into YouTube?
My whole goal, to be honest, was just make it enough to live on. I just did not want a normal job. That was I think that's a lot of people's incentive is God, do I not want to, I worked at The Gap.
So you know how to fold a good shirt.
No.
No?
No, they let me go. It was seasonal work.
You got fired from The Gap?
I wouldn't say it's fired. They said,
let go.
Let go because we're done with the holiday season. We don't need you anymore. But if I was a good employee, they would have kept me. The second job was Legoland. And while I was working at Legoland, I had that job on lock. It was cool. It was just a standard job. I wanted just a basic job. I didn't want to be let go because it was the end of the season or whatever.
So you found a really secure job?
Yeah, super secure. They loved hiring newly, either high schoolers or newly graduated. So I was perfect for the role. I worked really hard doing videos while doing that, and to the point where I could quit. And it happened pretty quickly because you don't need to do too much on YouTube to beat a job that's paying you $8 an hour. I was going to school as well, college. I had a finance professor. I was failing this finance class.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, yeah, so I know my grade's low. But I'm going to Australia to make some videos with my friends. So I'm gonna miss a couple of these classes. It was my second time taking the class.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Because you already failed the first time.
Yeah. It was so bad. And the second time around wasn't much better at all. But then he was like inquiring about like what I was doing in Australia, like why this was a big deal. Like he wanted to see.
You wanted to know why? He's like, this better be good.
Yeah. I showed him this fucking video of us doing it's a video called Deadly Twister. We are all in like Where's Waldo costumes.
Yeah.
And we're like stepping in spaghetti and putting our fingers in mouse traps and shit. It was super bizarre.
You're like, this is my professor's gonna love it.
I needed to show him something that had like good views on it or something.
Oh yeah, you're like, that justifies it.
Yeah, I just like, I need to show him the legitimacy of it. I kept scrolling and was like, you know, like, hey, like, look at this, like views, like this is important, right? Like this is my job. You'd give other people time off if it was their job. He didn't really get it, but he had like a curiosity about like, I wonder what like the young kids are doing these days.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was one of the young kids these days.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, neat. Like, it kind of felt like he was happy that I was willing to share something with him. Because he was very fuddy-duddy finance professor, and no one considered him like, you know, like a professor they could chill and hang out with.
No one tried to connect.
Yeah, so I was like, kind of fortunate. Like, I think that's why I ended up getting a passing grade, because I was at least giving him a window into my life. And then I think when I came back, I had shaved eyebrows, a shaved head.
Right. You put it all in the line. You sacrificed your entire physical appearance for that video.
Yeah, that's easy though. It's hard for you. You're a pretty boy.
Yeah, no, I can't get away with that. That's literally, you invited me to be part of Creator Clash, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in boxing. Real reason, I gotta protect the goods.
Yeah.
I'm not about to get my face decimated.
Oh, dude, it kind of looks hot though.
Is it hot?
When you have, like, you have to have the appropriate amount of damage. Like, if you got a black eye,
yeah,
you look so hard.
kind of sexy. It's like, he's seen some
You don't want to
shit.
get swollen though.
No. You don't want to change the shape of the face. You just want some, accents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some cuts.
Yeah, that video that you made right afterwards where you had two black eyes. I was like, this iDubbbz guy, kind of looking a little sexy, if I do say so.
That I did not look good in that video.
But you have some
looked
battle wounds,
rank.
bro.
I look like a fucking, like a Navi, like an avatar creature. I honestly think if you got into boxing, you'd love it.
I mean, I've done some boxing classes and really enjoyed it. And I could definitely see the allure. Wait, I have a question. Who would you have put me up against if I had said, yes, that sounds great, I'd love to get hit in the face?
So what we usually do is we would get your height and your weight, and then we would find someone near your height and your weight.
5'11", 175.
Yeah. And then we would pitch opponents to you.
Odd ones out, I could take him.
James definitely wants to fight. So like,
Really?
Yeah, that could, if you wanted it, we could definitely make that happen for next year, hands down.
I'm not committing right now.
That's fine.
But
You have to be confident about who you're fighting.
I feel pretty confident about taking James out.
That's I like that. Yeah,
I'm not saying anything. I'm just putting a little seed out there. We'll see what happens with it.
Oh, that's good.
We'll see what happens.
Wow.
I'm not getting into mindset.
Respect.
I'm just putting a seed. Hey, that makes it look official. It was just a seed.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
I like a seed because that's it, right? Like,
yeah.
I never wanted to do this shit. Rice Gum called me out to box in 2018, and I said no, or I didn't say anything because I didn't want to look like a.
You're not gonna say no.
Yeah.
Not publicly.
Right. Enough time had passed, and I had gained enough confidence myself, and became comfortable with the idea that I was like, oh yeah, of course, I will destroy him. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. I was paired up with Dr. Mike.
When you went out there to fight Dr. Mike, you were the headliner.
Yeah.
You didn't just put together a boxing match with creators and, watch from the sidelines and reap the benefit. I mean, there's two things there. It was for charity, which was amazing. You raised over $1 million.
And I have to say that a lot of people give me a lot of credit for putting this event together. Anissa is like the big brain behind it all, and she does a lot. She does, most of the work with the other fighters. She finds coaches for people. Boxing coaches are like notoriously hard to work with because they're tough. They, you ask any, boxing coach, hey, we plan.
I've told you this already. I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm very confident in my abilities. I'm not going to fucking step into a ring and possibly get concussed. So a bunch of you fucking weirdos can feel like, I did something. I don't care. Not going to happen. It's not worth it.
On doing this creator boxing event, and they're gonna think you're a total joke. Like, no, like boxing isn't a game. You can't just take it up casually.
I have a lot of respect
Honestly,
for those who do.
Anissa doesn't get enough credit
it.
for how much she does for the whole show.
Were you expecting people to want to come back the next year after this?
Not at all. I thought everyone who lost would definitely not want to come back. People who won might want to do it, but what ended up happening was pretty much everyone except Michael Reeves and Graham Stephan wanted to come back.
How is this year's Creator Clash going to be different than last year's?
All of the fighters have had much more time to prepare. We've made sure that every fighter has a legit coach. We have more female fights. We have 3 female fights, and they're in 3 different weight classes.
How do you think the training, the physical training, has translated to mental, emotional, internal states?
I have like so many cool boxing content ideas. And now that I've done it, I'm like, oh, you don't have time or energy to do anything other than boxing. There's just like a lot of things that I've had to learn along the way. Like my coach is a tough ass guy. He's got a little of the toxic male qualities, and it's made it hard sometimes because the way he talks to me sometimes, I could be a little bit sensitive to it. So that's like led to a couple times where I've just been like kind of broke down. If you have like a bad sparring session, it's like that alone feels bad. But if you're getting your shit kicked in and your coach is like exuding their disappointment to you the whole time while it's happening, it's like, I just kind of suck. He's gotten a lot better at it, and it's really not his fault. Like that's literal, and Anissa's told me this. She's like, that is the most normal thing. You're not gonna find a coach that's gonna fucking take care of your feelings, bitch. Like, and I'm like, okay, I understand.
Well, in a sense, they're almost preparing you for those feelings, right?
Exactly.
But they're gonna come up, especially if you are losing in a fight.
I would just say that maybe it's given me more confidence just in life. That obviously comes from, being able to defend myself, and also just knowing that it's like a sport, because sometimes I'll get really down on myself. It just feels weird, right? Because you're like your sparring partners in boxing, like they're your friends, but you also have to do well against them, and you have to hurt them. Sometimes I'll grapple with that a little bit, where it's like, oh, I don't like, can we play more? Do we have to box, or can we just like tap each other? And it's like, no, we have to box. We have to hurt each other.
You have to treat it like it's the actual scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like this conversation today, this interview, would be different if you had never gotten into the boxing stuff?
Yeah, it would be. I think I'd be less vulnerable in general. And I'd say Anissa has been very like instrumental. I think most guys can say that about their partners, is like they're going to have insight that you cannot have about yourself. You have to like be able to stand them and not like leave the situation.
Right.
I'm avoiding, I'll just leave. I don't have to face it. But with my partner that I want to like continue this relationship with, they hold the mirror up and they say, this is like this thing that you're doing or whatever, it's very ugly. You might want to think about that.
Do you want to get into what's next? What other plans you have outside of Creator Clash? Do you want to tease anything?
I love making videos, and I don't want to like stop making videos, but continuing to box and make videos is so hard. So I definitely need to like choose one or the other.
This is also part of the reason. It's like you don't have enough time to train adequately while also simultaneously pumping fucking 10 hours of content.
Maybe I could, do videos for a year, take a break, and do some boxing. My general focus is making videos and just kind of a return to form a little bit. Obviously, like leaving all the things that I wasn't a fan of or have grown to like really not like over time, leaving that behind and, you know, at least keeping some of, you know, what makes the iDubbbz channel the iDubbbz channel. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to figure that out. Hopefully with time, like, people will be like, oh yeah, he does that sort of thing now. And that interests me. If it doesn't interest some people, then, you know, RIP.
What brings you the most joy?
I think making content with people who I enjoy being around, like my wife, Anissa. It checks a lot of boxes. I think working with other people is amazing. I think it's really undervalued. I think everyone wants to, you know, work at home alone because they're just so used to like kind of being forced to have these interactions. But when you love the people that you're around, it's so awesome to do more things with them. Creator clashes, like, I never would have fucking dreamed that we'd do something like this.
Yeah.
Boxing, it's strange. I at least thought that we would have done it for money. It fucks with me every time I think about it. I'm like, I don't box. What the hell is this?
You get to create content which you love doing. You get to bring people together, and you get to do something fulfilling in the sense that you're raising money for charity.
Yeah, and I think old me, I don't think realized that reality was possible. I wouldn't have thought that like you can do like have that much good.
Come on, let me add him. You guys are way too fucking quick with it, dude. Dude, your stream fucking sucks. You're just eating. You suck and I'm unfollowing. Anyone can do your job, you useless piece of shit, says Nancy SBF. Nancy's boyfriend. So, one thing I will say, following since 10 minutes ago, he literally followed just to say this, to unfollow. You're right. That is true. Anyone could do my job. And, you know, that part is true. It's true. I have nothing to say to that. A lot of other people also do the exact same thing that you're talking about, but I'm sure you feel like they are good and you don't have an issue with them because you agree with them. You're charitable because you are a premium saltine. I've been on the receiving end of racist, sexist, edgelord harassment as a child in school and as an adult at work. It's traumatic, and now I have an aversion to anyone who puts that energy out there. It goes beyond dark humor. I think you should let the minorities be unforgiving. I mean, I know that it goes beyond dark humor, and I know how traumatic it is. But I'm not going to stop advocating for things that I believe in, you know. And one of the fundamental things I believe in is allowing people to grow and change. Because ultimately, that is beneficial for everyone. You create a space where others can also feel comfortable growing. No, premium saltine is crazy. I mean, it's true. I am a fucking premium saltine. I have the pass. Did you never say or think something transphobic? Do you think that feeling isn't there for trans people? Are you talking to the other people? Yeah, I mean, I like, guys, I am the perfect example of this. Okay, I am the perfect example of this. I believed in transphobic shit. Can you imagine people calling you the sand N-word? Yeah, but it still doesn't matter because I am so saltine. So it, like, yeah, I've been called the sand N-word from the jump, but I am saltine as a motherfucker, so it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? So there is truth to that. But ultimately our goal should be to get more people on board with the cause, to get more people on board with our ideas. And if you want to do that, you can't constantly chirp at motherfuckers who are acknowledging that they were in the wrong in the past and have demonstrated that they're changed, that they no longer hold on to those same behaviors. And that kind of growth takes a lot of time, right? It takes a long ass time to get there. And some people never get there. I see no reason to just be an overall angry person at those who I believe ostensibly are now on my side, regardless of what they used to say or do in the past. I used to hate watch HasanAbi and was super transphobic, but I turned around. Yeah, there are so many examples of people like this. Now, that doesn't mean we should allow racism to fester in this community, right? We don't do that. That doesn't mean we should allow transphobia to fester in this community. We don't do that. We eviscerate bigotry in this community every time it comes up. But you have to remember that there is a reason why we have grown as a community to the levels that we have grown to. That is because I have no time. Didn't your haters used to call you Brown Fabio? Like they tried to be racist by calling you hot? Yeah. Man, I haven't heard that in a long ass time. Yeah, they used to say that all the time. Which is funny because like Fabio is literally browner than me, but he was white and I'm not, right? In their eyes. I haven't heard that in so long. What a fucking throwback. Everyone has been hateful, including black, trans, gay, white people. Everyone has been problematic. If they've changed and are working to undo these things, or at least verbally disavowing hate, then they're on our side. Yup. Yeah. And before people say, like, what do you mean? That's not true. Like, what do you mean? Half the trans people in this community were themselves transphobic before they recognized that they themselves were trans. Why do you think that is the case? Because they are a product of their social conditioning, just like you are. Don't you own a $3 bajillion house, lol? I'm unfollowing. I do.
Good in like entertainment. It's cool. I don't know. I like it.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's what some people would call meditation.
Yeah.
When you're
Anyway, I think this was a good video overall. He addresses certain points of it. Maybe it's not enough for a lot of chatters, but ultimately, I don't think he believes the things that he used to espouse. Like, that's it. Very funny that iDubbbz's former fans are crying about him being a big meanie pants jerk face because he rightfully didn't want to be associated with weird, smelly, racist losers with no jobs and no lives anymore. Can't blame them when he built his entire career off of it, to be honest. See, like, you're literally saying the same thing that the fucking weird 4chan guys are saying, though, when you say that, right? You're like, well, you built your career with us big stinky boys, so you should never change your perspective on us big stinky boys, actually. You should stay in the fucking stink with us big stinky meanie bobini boys. And it's like, what the fuck? What do you mean? What do you fucking mean? Like, why would you do that? Okay, oh, here, by the way, there it is. We're finally here. We're finally here, okay? We're finally here, motherfuckers. California's 11th atmospheric river this winter